Why don't I yield to you for 5 minutes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I welcome our panelists who are here today. There's nothing partisan about eradicating terrorism from every part of our globe, and this is just another example as to how this subcommittee can work together for the American people. This hearing is important to draw attention to not only what is occurring in the Sahel region of Africa, but also the rest of the continent. To date, there are more than 4 major active terrorist organizations fighting to gain a stronghold in the fragile states throughout Africa. One militant Islamic terrorist group, Boko Haram, has horrifically killed over 20,000 people and displaced more than 2 million during their reign of terror throughout Nigeria and West Africa. The U.S. has played an important role in supporting partners and allies in the region to combat Islamic terrorist organizations. Despite these efforts, the number of terrorist attacks in the region, like the Sahel, nearly doubled in 2018, and attacks in the sub-Saharan area have also increased dramatically. By historical standards, the U.S. under the Trump administration is providing a record high number of counterterrorism resources to African countries. U.S. counterterrorism efforts in the region include things like foreign assistance, public diplomacy efforts, military assistance, and intelligence programs. The U.S. Department of Defense and State Department are actively engaged in these counterterrorism efforts. The State Department provides nearly $280 million of funding for African counterterrorism efforts each year. Additionally, the Department of Defense spends at least $500 million a year for counterterrorism efforts in the area. And the U.S. taxpayer is not the only ones involved. The U.S. has deployed thousands of brave American servicemen and women to Africa for a variety of important missions. At the end of 2018, it's been reported that nearly 7,200 Department of Defense personnel were assigned to U.S. Africa Command. Additionally, Special Operation Forces in Africa had over 1,000 of our finest troops operating in 12 African countries. Their mission is, quote, advise local forces battling a variety of terrorist groups, unquote. It's a great mission. And with that, let's never forget people like Sergeant First Class Jeremiah Johnson, Staff Sergeant Brian Black, Staff Sergeant Dustin Wright, and Sergeant LaDavid Johnson. These, on October 4th, 2017, gave their life, and there were others who were severely injured during that ambush in the area of Niger near the Mali border. I'll conclude my remarks by saying this. The Trump administration prioritized developing a plan for U.S. security assistance to Africa because, and I quote, we understand that lasting stability, prosperity, independence, and security on the African continent are in the national security interest of the United States, unquote. There's a lot of work to be done on this topic. Mr. Chairman, I look forward to working with you on this serious issue of combating terrorism in Africa. I further look forward to hearing from each of our panelists. And again, I welcome you and thank you for being a part of this hearing today. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentlemen.